Hello, it's Sarah from Hardcover Hearts, and I'm here with my week of reading update. This is where I talk about the books that I read last week, what I'm currently reading, and could potentially read next week based on my mood. So as you probably know, I usually put these out on Fridays, but I had an exceptionally bad day yesterday, and these are not, it's not normal for me. I'm usually someone who is pretty unflappable, and I don't really tend to get very moody, but yesterday everything just kind of got to me, and there were just a bunch of disappointments that all compiled. The first one was that I was supposed to be in Mexico City this weekend visiting one of just one reader. So obviously that was canceled, and this has been something that he and I had put together kind of at the beginning of the year. And so I was really looking forward to flying down to Mexico City, going to all the bookshops, exploring, just hanging out, talking books, filming, doing a vlog, all of that good stuff, but to no avail. So we're gonna have to put that on the back burner. The good news is Juan's not going anywhere, Mexico City's not going anywhere. I can do it later. But it was still a reminder of how fun this weekend could have been. And what made it worse is we were boxering, and I begged him to tell me that the weather was horrible, and he's like, no, it's actually really beautiful. So he wouldn't play along. Damn. And then I received the news that Oxford, the program that I go to, which is week-long throughout the entire summer, starting in July, they do these week-long classes on some theme. And you live at Christ Church and attend the classes, and I think it's one of the best things in the entire world. I love it so dearly. I took the year off last year because the timing didn't work out, and I was so looking forward to going back to it, and they had to cancel it. It totally makes sense. I get it, but it was in July. And so I was really hoping that we would be not really thinking about this until the end of next month, not this month. So that kind of came as a surprise. And of course, that means that the trickle effect of that is that I won't be able to go to London in June, which means I won't be able to see so many of the people that I wanted to meet up with from the BookTube community. So there were a lot of people that I already had arranged plans with, but then there were also some people I was going to see if I could entice them to hang out. And so now all of that has been scrapped. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, well, if we keep Oxford, then I'll just do July in London. I'll go to Oxford and I'll just stay there and work from the London office in July. But it's not going to happen. So I need to manage my expectations and just kind of sit with that a little bit. And that's kind of what I did yesterday. I tried to film I filmed this yesterday, but I didn't like it. But I was too much of a sad sack, so nobody needs to see that. You know, admittedly, these are very, very privileged problems to have. And the world is on fire right now. And so many people do not have the luxury that I have. And I know that, and I am incredibly grateful for that. So, but I do also feel that it's important to acknowledge the sadness that you feel, and as a means of moving past it. So I had my sulky day yesterday and worked and read a little bit, and then watched some K-drama, which Mel from Mel's Book and Adventure has turned me on to, and I am loving it. I literally tried to binge the last 4 episodes, but it was like midnight for the final episode, and I just couldn't stay awake. So I have that to look forward to today, later on this evening. So I woke up with a better perspective, and the world is kind of matching my mood. So it's lovely, rainy. I see the mist on the Oakland Hills outside, and this is better kind of scenario for me today and this weekend. So there we are. But you didn't come here to talk about that, so let's talk about the books. I only finished 2 books this week. It's an exceptionally slow week. The first reason is because I did the BookTube Prize judging video. And I really felt an obligation to be really thorough with what I did. So it took me a while to get that video into a place where I felt like I said what I wanted to say and was able to edit and then put it up. So that took a significant amount of time out of last weekend where I usually read. And it was just a stressful week at work, and the weather created some migraines for me. So I just didn't get a lot of reading done. And what was funny is I was really feeling anxious about that. Like, oh God, I can't show up with only have read one book. That just doesn't seem right. I don't think you guys judge me for that. Call me crazy, but I don't think you do. So I remembered that there was one book that I was almost done with that was an ebook. I was able to finish that. So voila, 2 books. There we go. So let me talk to you about the first one. Again, it's been March Mystery Madness as I was finishing this up. And I wanted to get one more in. This was Her Royal Spyness by Rhys Bowen. And this is the first of a new series to me. We have Georgie, who is the 34th in line for the royal crown. When we open this, she's set in Scotland at her brother and sister-in-law's castle. And she knows they're trying to foist her off into a marriage, and she doesn't want any part of it. She just wants to go to London, and she wants to start living a life. And this is the best time period. It's a time period that I just adore, and this between the wars. I just find that time period so interesting. And I think it's because so much has been unveiled to them about what has already happened with war. But we know that another war is imminent. And I think that overlay of that shadow, of shadow knowledge that we have, really makes this time period fascinating, and especially when modern writers approach it. So yeah, I really like this period. I thought the characters were really, really well drawn. I think the plot was great. The pacing was great. I really enjoy Georgie as a character, and I have already looked into numbers 2 and 3 in the series. If I'm finding that I'm falling into a rut and I'm not unable to get into any books, I'm just going to grab them. Fortunately, they were not at my public library, and Scrib didn't have them, so I went ahead and downloaded them from my e-reader. So I enjoyed it very much. If you like historical mysteries, this might be something for you to check out. Then the book that I was almost done with that I wanted to finish so that I could at least have 2 this week was Abundance by Annie Dillard. The official title is The Abundance, Narrative Essays Old and New by Annie Dillard. And I think that's super important because the mixture of old and new made this essay collection feel a little haphazard to me. So there were sections where it was about nature writing, which was just exquisite. And then there were sections about her childhood. And some of those essays were phenomenal. But there were also other essays in there, and the length of the essays really varied. And so I never felt comfortable, like I understood what I was going to be getting. That was my problem. That was my problem. And I think also reading it in an e-reader format impacted that. But that doesn't mean that I'm not going to pick up more Annie Dillard. I think that in specific collections where there's a clear theme that she's working with, I think I will do better with her work. But it was still outstanding. I gave it 4 stars. Now let's talk about what I'm currently reading. I'm doing a buddy read with Kate Howe, and we are reading Love in a Cold Climate. Same time period as my previous book that I mentioned. This is by Nancy Mitford. You know, I love myself some Mitford family work. This is considered the follow-up to Pursuit of Love, and we are enjoying it very much. I'm a little more than halfway through it. We're trying to read a few chapters every single day and checking in. And I have to say, it's been a joyous experience to check in and to read it with someone who knows so much about this time period and reads, you know, so strongly in our classics, both the modern classic and Victorian classic, as Kate Howell does. So this has been an absolute joy and delight, and I look forward to checking in every single time, and her insights are sublime. So enjoying this. We'll be finishing this up this week. Then I'm starting a project with Leo from A Little Book Life. We are reading the Anita Brookner collection, the oeuvre of 24 books. It'll take us 2 years. We're starting off on the second book. This is Providence. I don't know anything about this. I just know it's Anita Brookner and it's her second book. It's all I need. And Leo and I are going to be enjoying this. And so look forward to more discussion about this in the future. I'm still doing a buddy read of Coventry. And this is by Rachel Cusk. I think I might try to see if I can read another essay this week. I'm hesitant to get back into this just because my mind hasn't been there. Same thing I said last week. Is that really the sense is that it's so intellectual and you just really need the brain power, and I just don't have it right now. Hence the fluffier historical fiction. Mysteries. So we'll see. I don't want this to languish. So I do want to make progress, but I want to make the right progress. I don't want to do this an injustice, because one essay I was a little meh. The other essay was really interesting to me. So I'm interested to see where it goes, and want to give her a fair shake. Then, despite the fact that I won't be going to Oxford, I'm still continuing with my buddy reads, my group reading project. This is the second, and this was for the class I was going to take, 18th century women novelists. This is Maria Edgeworth's Belinda, and we are going to be checking in tomorrow for the first time. I have a lovely group of people who are reading it with me, and I'm just very, very glad to be continuing with the material, even though I won't be able to go to Oxford this year and actually study it with a professor. And then I am starting a book for AussieApril. I keep threatening to do my AussieApril TBR. I am going to do it later today. Just time has been hard to get the right timing on this. But I found this book and I wanted to jump into it about a week ago. Then I remembered it was for AussieApril and I paused it, and I just started it again, and it is an absolute delight so far. The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart by Holly Ringland. The cover is so lovely. And we open with a young girl who is, I'll just read the very first sentence. Oh, there's gorgeous, the table of contents. I'm not sure if you could see that. Gorgeous little flowers around the side. A lovely little line drawings in here. The very first sentence says, "In the weatherboard house at the end of the lane, 9-year-old Alice Hart sat at her desk by the window and dreamed of ways to set her father on fire." Sold. So I'm enjoying this little girl whose father is abusive to the mother and to her. And she is precocious, and she wants her revenge. So already I'm entranced and enthralled. Feels like it's modern day. In other words, not in the late past, but not sure anything more than that. Yeah, there's no time here. But so very happy to be kicking off AussieApril with what seems to be a good start. Now let me show you some books that I'm interested in possibly dipping into next week. So the first one that I pulled out of my stack, this is something that I bought at Daunt Books, was hand sold last time I was there in November. And this is Patrick Modiano via Triste. From my understanding, this is set in a it's a lakeside town on the border between Switzerland and France. and a young man is fleeing the outbreak of the Algerian War. And he arrives in this town and kind of is swept up by some bon vivants that live there. Sounds great. I love this. I just really love the cover. So this might be something completely different from what I've been reading. That would be wonderful to get to. Then this has been calling me. This might be a little too similar to the Australian book that I'm reading, but Things in Jars by Jess Kidd. Great cover. Yeah, I might gravitate to this. I'm just feeling inspired in that way. I was thinking about this yesterday. I think I got really put off by fantasy after the Marlon James fiasco of having to read Black Leopard, Red Wolf. It was so horrific and so horrifying that even though I had mentioned wanting to read N.K. Jemisin a little while ago, I kept having to put it down. I'm hoping, even though I know this is kind of Victorian and has fantastical elements, I think I need to tease my way back into the genre because, yeah, that was a hellscape, that book. So this might be a nice foray in. And then I'm also going to be judging another round for the BookTube Prize in Fiction. So I've just started that book as well. So a lot on the horizon. I maybe didn't get enough finished this week, but you know, these things happen. So I would love to know, are you well? Are you safe? Feeling okay? How are you dealing with the isolation right now? What are you reading? What of these books have you read, or are you interested in, or know anything about? What other books would you recommend to me based on these that maybe sparked your interest or memory? Yeah, that's about it for today. I really hope you have a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Please be safe. Don't touch your face. Stay indoors. And grab a bunch of books. All right. Bye.